Hello and welcome everybody. Lovely to see everybody this afternoon. Over at Botten, over the last few weeks in the lockdown, we have been doing some natural dyeing and used our exercise time to be able to go and gather different plants and things like that to be able to do this. We're fairly fortunate at Botten, and I know some of the other communities we are, because we have farms, and on those farms we often have sheep. So we process the sheep's wool over here at Botten. That means we need to wash it, and we need to take all the little bits of seed and grass and things like that out of it, and then we card it, tease all the little bits out, card it, and then you can use that for stuffing things. Maybe some of the dolls are stuffed at Botten with the fleece from the sheep, and cushions and things like that. But also you can take it a step further and use it to make things out of felt, and you can also spin it for knitting and weaving purposes. But what we've been busy doing is we've just been preparing some ready for doing some felt making. Now I've put together some slides. Unfortunately, the guys in the group that have been helping me aren't able to join me today because you wouldn't be able to see me talk. If I was wearing a mask, it would all be a bit muffled. So unfortunately they can't be with me, but if you watch on the video you'll see that there are slides, and the people that have been helping me with this are Martin and William, Jane, Howard and Mark over at Botten Village. Okay, so the slide should be up on your screen now. And we'll go to the first one, Phil, if that's okay. Okay, so first of all, you need to prepare the wool. Now, I mentioned that you need to wash it through and everything like that, but when you are preparing it for dyeing, you need to do something called scouring, which then helps to get all the fibres clean and fluff them up a little bit. So I've got on the screen there, you can see there's some gloves, warm water, you need a large pan and some washing up liquid, sort of any detergent would do really, but yeah, washing up liquid's quite good. And then what I've suggested that you do is you put the pan near the sink, so you're not having to lift it, because once it gets really full, it can be very heavy, so just be careful with that. And I've suggested that you fill the pan 3/4 full with warm water and a big squirt of washing up liquid, and then you place the fleece into the pan and make sure it's covered with the water. So it's a little bit like hand washing a garment, you know, if you were hand washing your clothes, but you just do it very, very, very carefully. So you just sort of move the fleece around very gently, because if you don't, that may make it start to felt. So it'll get all in lumps and things like that, and you want it as open as you possibly can. So then if you give it a gentle squeeze out, and then you can hang it up and leave it to dry, ready for when you're ready to do your dyeing. Could we have the next one, please, Phil? Okay, so you need what we call a mordant for dyeing yarn or for dyeing fleece. And a mordant is just the thing that makes the dye colour stick to the fleece or stick to the yarn, and makes the colour stay. So it's called colour fast. You might see that on garments, it says that it's colour fast at a certain degree of temperature. Now you can do mordanting in a few different ways. You can use chemical mordants. This one's an alum. And of course it is a chemical, you have to be careful. So you've got to be really careful with rhubarb leaves, because there actually are the poisonous. The rhubarb stick, the bit on the stem, that's okay to eat, but the actual leaf of the rhubarb that's poisonous, so you do have to be very careful. Okay. So what you can see in the picture there, we've collected, Mark and I collected some rhubarb leaves, and then we've chopped the leaves off, leaving the stem, and then you can make a lovely crumble with the stem afterwards. And then put the rhubarb leaves into a pan wearing your gloves, and then you simmer that for about an hour. Make sure that you have the window open or an extractor fan on, so that there are no fumes inside the room. Okay, right, on to the next one, please, Phil. There you can see Mark now. The mordant that we made had cooled down, and the scoured fleece, so that was the washed fleece, was put into the cold liquid. And Mark was carefully doing this with a knife, just pushing it down, but you could use a stick or an old wooden spoon or something like that. He's put the pan onto the stove with a lid on, and then we simmered that for about an hour. So not boiling, but simmering. When it's finished, allow it to cool down. So we allowed ours to cool down overnight. And then once it's cooled, you can take it out, squeeze all the liquid out of it, but don't rinse it. Don't rinse it out with cold water or anything. And then again, you can leave that to dry or keep it wet for the next day if you're going to carry on straight away. Can we go to the next one then, please, Phil? So we've tried to pick some things that were easy for you to get hold of. The time we were doing it, daffodils were all out, or they were just coming to the end of being out. So we've got daffodils there. You can do it with dandelions as well. We've put onion skins there and turmeric powder. The onion skins and the turmeric powder don't need any mordant in, so you can dye those straight away. So those are the things that we got. So obviously, if you're going to go out and pick, make sure that the person that you're picking, the area of land that you're picking from, or the garden, the people know that you're doing it and they're okay with that, because you don't want people running into gardens and pinching things. And the daffodils are better when they've gone over, so when they've gone dry and they're not fresh anymore, that's a good time to pick them then. Okay, could we have the next one, please? Okay, so you can see there the daffodils that we've got are looking dry, and Mark took all the stems away from the daffodils, just leaving the heads of the flower. And all we needed to do then is fill the pan up with water again, put it onto the stove, and then you can see Howard and Mark and William putting in all the dried flower leaves into the pot. We let them soak, and then we brought those to simmer again up for about an hour, and then left that to cool overnight. Next one, please, Phil. Okay, we're about to do the dyeing of the fleece. So when that was all cooled down the next day, we drained off the liquid and took all the flower petals out. And what we were left with was a dye bath, what we call a dye bath. So the coloured liquid is then what colours the fleece. So you can see Jane and Mark there are taking out all the old daffodils, and then Mark's putting the scoured fleece into the pot, and we're simmering again for about an hour and letting it cool overnight. Thank you, Phil. Okay, so this is what we were left with. So you can see this fleece here was done with the alum mordant, the chemical one, but this one here is the one that we did with the rhubarb mordant, and it's a lovely colour, really nice strong colour still. So we're really, really pleased with that. And then the gang said, well, what are we going to do with it now? You know, what do we do? What do we make? So we decided after a little while that we would make some of these, which are little children's slippers. So you can see there that Jane has been carding. We're lucky to have a carding machine, and she's carded that yarn to make it, the fleece, to make it nice and soft and open. And then Martin there in the middle is rubbing and rolling away with hot water and soap to make on the template that you can see at the end, where there's that funny shape. And if we move on to the next one, thanks Phil, you can see our little slippers there. So it was a lot of hard work, a long process, but the guys did an absolutely brilliant job. And if you need any help with doing them, you can always give us a ring and find out from one of the guys exactly what they were doing. So there we are with our slippers. Just to say that there's a good book, it's called Wild Colour by Jenny Dean, and that's got absolutely loads and loads of different dyes and things that you can use. And then for felt making, that one's a really good book because it has all sorts of different things. You can make pictures, you can make things like bags on a template, and it's also got a pattern for slippers in as well. Okay, so next one please, Phil. So dyeing wool isn't everybody's cup of tea, so what I thought we would do is include something that you could dye very easily yourself, with things that are easy to get. So what we've got there is an old t-shirt of my husband's. He doesn't know that I pinched it, and it's hanging on the line there. We've dyed that with a spice called turmeric. So could we move on to the next one, Phil, please? Okay, so you can see there we've got our turmeric, got some here, and you can see Howard there is just tipping the turmeric into the pan. So it's the same process as we were using for dyeing the fleece. We filled it up about halfway, the pan about halfway with water. He's putting in the turmeric, and then we're going to simmer that to get that ready for the t-shirt. Okay, next one please. So I pinched another one of his t-shirts here, and I'll show you how we made the circle. So we ripped some little bits of cotton fabric, and we've got some stones from outside. Place the stones on the inside of the t-shirt, and then you wrap it around really, 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 really tight and tie it off so that it's all tight and secure. You need it to be really tight because the fabric that's underneath where the ties are the bit that stays white. Okay, so you need that to be really, really tight. So if you see on the pictures, we did that in a few places all over the t-shirt, and then we ended up with this. So you can see it's a lovely strong colour. If we move on to the next slide, Phil, you can see there that that's what they're doing, how I described it. We've tied all the stones into the t-shirt, and then Martin's just popping it into the turmeric dye. You can see Jane there squeezing the liquid off, and Mark untying all the ties. And then if we move on to the next one, there's the gang, all really, really happy with the dyeing that they've made. It's actually great fun to do. It's very, very safe and very simple. And lots of us have white t-shirts. It's a good way to upcycle a t-shirt and make something new out of something old. So that's our hand dyeing session. We hope that you enjoy doing some of it. And like I said, you can always get in touch with us if you want any more information or help.